Good afternoon, Class 5. This is your second history lesson, and we're going to have a look today at some evidence to explain and justify what Hitler needed to do if his invasion was going to succeed. So you're going to have a look at the ships and the aircraft that both the Germans and the English had, and use this to decide what Hitler would have needed to do. So in June 1940, Hitler had control of all of the Western Europe, and only the UK remained. But invading Britain would be very different than any of the other countries Germany had occupied up until then. Okay, so just a quick recap of what we looked at yesterday. So you can see on the image that the countries that are in green, they are occupied by Germany, and there were lots more that we looked at yesterday as well. So he was getting closer and closer to that invasion of England and Britain. For the invasion to succeed, though, the Germans would have to transport perhaps as many as 250,000 soldiers quickly across the open sea of the English Channel to reach the south coast of Britain in the first 3 days of the invasion. Speed would be critical in order to avoid giving the British too much time to react to the attack. Okay, so they needed to do what they needed to do quickly. But one of their problems was that most of the German troops would have to be transported on slow-moving barges and landing craft. So if you have a look at the image below, many of the soldiers would have been transported on the barge that you can see in the image, and it was very, very slow. Okay, so why might this have been a problem for Hitler? Maybe the British would have been able to prepare. Okay, so your task is to use the data below, and you've got this sheet in your pack as well, to write a paragraph discussing what you think Hitler would need to do. I want you to think about, would they be better invading through the air or the seas, okay, and why? So if we have a look at the data together, so the first part is the comparison of the Royal Navy and the German ships in June 1940. So if we have a look, the Royal Navy had 15 battleships. The German army, they only had 2 battleships. We had 7 aircraft carriers, they had none. We had 181 destroyers, whereas the Germans only had 22. We had 44 minesweepers, the Germans had none. So who would have had the advantage if the invasion would have happened in the sea? Definitely the UK. So would it be wise for Hitler to invade in the sea? Now if we have a look at the air forces, so the Royal Air Force had 1,032 fighter aircrafts, but the German aircraft, they had 1,137, and the bomber aircraft, including dive bombers, we only had 232, whereas they had 1,385. So Germany definitely had that advantage in the sky. So Hitler needed to think really carefully about what he was going to do and how he was going to try and invade the UK. So this is just my example. It's not very long, but it's using the evidence, and that's what I want you to do. Use the evidence, use the statistics that you've got on the sheet. So if Hitler was to succeed in invading Britain, then I think he needed to use the Luftwaffe, the German Air Force, as he definitely had an advantage over the British in the skies. He would most definitely benefit from using his bomber aircrafts, as he had 1,385 compared to Britain's 232. What I also want you to include in yours is why he shouldn't have used the ships. Why would that not have been good for him? Okay, so that's your history lesson for today. Again, get your parents or carers to show me any work that you are proud of. Well done, guys.